We're going to get going. Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the Hartland Selectboard meeting on Monday, August the 18th. I am going to adjust the agenda and then return to item 1 after we have a presentation. Dan Morancy is with us tonight to talk about the Vermont Old Cemetery Association and some potential work in the spring that we might be looking at with our cemeteries. Dan, the floor is yours.
Okay. So a woman from Vermont, Old Vermont Cemetery, VOCA, reached out to me about doing some work in Hartland. They do workshops all over the state, and they're scheduling out in 2026 now, and they would like to, they'd like to do some in this region. And she's done some work in Center Town Cemetery as far as cleaning stones, and it's really made a big difference up there. And she would like to do more work, and I believe that she's purchased through the town of Hartland the D2 to clean the stones. It was in the cold. They reached out, so she reached out to me, and we met down at the church. We took a little ride around to see the cemeteries, and it looks like, for a gravestone repair, which is what they would like to do, probably the most stones that I saw that were broken are in Center Town, where she was working before. So I think that would be a good place to start. And I think that the way it was left was the person in charge, which I have his name and which I'll give you the pamphlet. The town needs to reach out to VOCA and say, yes, we would be interested in having a workshop done, and these are, what is your protocols? I think that they need maybe some hard pack, and they need some shovels and just things for those types of stuff.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of detail in the write-up.
Okay, good.
In that part, right down to wooden blocks to help support the stuff.
Yeah. So I think where we're at now is I think a town representative may need to reach out to them to just verify it rather than a citizen. Okay.
Yeah, this has certainly been something we've been talking about for a while, I mean, it seems like it would be a good idea to try to schedule next spring. Or, they mentioned that time frame. I'm sure whenever we could fit in the schedule. In there, at one point they talk up to maybe 20 volunteers or so. So I think we would have to figure out what's an optimal size so that people aren't tripping over one another.
I'm sure people are going to want to just observe too. And have spectators.
And I think you just highlighted it, but if I understand, the expenses would be the stone for resetting, pea stone or whatever it's going to be called for underneath the stone, some of that product that we're cleaning, and that was about it, I think.
Yeah, I think it depends on the actual repair that they do, because sometimes they use a mechanical repair, which they put channel iron on the sides of the stone. And I think that it depends on the actual what it is for a stone, soapstone or granite or what have you.
And the epoxy is appropriate epoxy for that.
Yeah, because that was the trouble when the epoxies freeze and thaw at a different rate than the stone. So a lot of times when you put the epoxy on, it'll crack right underneath the epoxy because it's not
too rigid.
Yes, it needs to be pliable with the stone.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Okay.
So currently there's nothing in the cemetery commission, the cemetery budget, there's trees, but depending on when we do this work, either, the request here is pretty nominal. So, some loads of short back and some scrap lumber, I'm sure we can come up with, or if we schedule it out into July or beyond of 2026, we could build it into the cemetery budget for the next year as well.
Okay.
But, I think, I think we're talking, $500 maybe in tops, depends on the price of hardback at the time. So.
Yeah, it wouldn't be very much.
Right, I'm like, right, exactly, I'm not.
Pick up load.
Right, okay. Yeah, she says a truckload, so I think we're talking more pickup truckload, not 10-wheeler truckload. I was like, reading it through, I was like, oh, that seems like a lot, but, okay.
I just want to build a road.
Right, exactly, no, thank you. Okay.
Any other thoughts about it?
No, I think it's great, and hopefully maybe this will inspire people to join the cemetery committee, and we can get some more volunteers. But
Yeah, it's showing active, it's being active,
active, so, but just want to, again, thank you, Dan, for.
Sure.
Dan, if you have the contact information for the person.
Yes, can I email it to you?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'll contact it and we'll just go from there for scheduling.
Okay.
Perfect.
Great, all right.
Dan,
Thanks.
thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Good luck tonight.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Can I ask an unrelated cemetery question?
Want to do it on other business?
Yeah, sure.
So I know
Just
in the past, like, for example, one of the cemeteries in Weed, I think it was Bob, that he came in, might have been Bob.
Yep.
Who was concerned about some of the trees.
Yep.
Right. Like the pine tree in the middle is unsafe for humans to be around. So I'm just wondering, the weed.
So I've been in contact with the abutting property owners and they're willing to clear a path. We just need to coordinate their clearing of that path and our hiring of a tree service to get in there and do those trees. This is the optimal time because behind the cemetery it gets pretty swampy and wet. And given the dry conditions right now, this is kind of ideal timing to get that work done.
Okay. But you haven't talked to like a tree person yet?
I have not talked to a tree person yet. It was.
I'm just curious as to whether you can even access the pine tree from the backside. It's kind of.
That's the only way to access it, so we walked it with the manager of the area, or the farm,
Okay.
and so, yeah, that would be the best way to get to it.
Right, so it's on your.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, on our radar and in process.
Okay, well, let's go back to the top then, and the first order of business would be to approve the minutes from August 4th. I would entertain a motion to do that.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Jim. A second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Tom. Any comments? Changes? It's just a word under new business, the Merrit reappraisal should be contract, not contact.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions, suggestions? All in favor of passing the August 4th minutes, say aye. Motion passes. The next item are the orders or accounts payable through today, August the 18th.
I'll move that we pay the orders through today.
Thank you, Clyde. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Jim. Any comment?
I had a comment, but I lost it.
Was it about the 550 charge?
Don't remember. I thought I had it.
This is the gift that keeps on giving.
John, someone has a note in here on page 3 of
Oh, that's me. That's my note.
the culverts.
It's on culverts, just what the total budget was.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I found my question. We have another 5,200 for the Quechee Road study. I thought we were finished.
That is mislabeled, right? So is that the Everett Hammond invoice?
Yeah.
Right, that's an RSMS. I noticed that as well. That's just, when they enter these invoices, they assign a label to it. That's just mislabeled.
But what is Everett still doing?
That nothing.
Oh,
This is the invoice for the work that he completed.
okay, so we hadn't finished paying.
We had not paid him yet. He had not submitted an invoice until recently.
Okay.
So let me clarify. So the $5,260 charge is a correct charge because of a late invoice?
Correct.
Okay.
Is that, it says paved road study under, and then beneath it is Quechee Road study, right? That's you're looking at the Everett Hammond.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It was not, in fact, he didn't look at the Quechee Road. He looked at all the other paved roads in town.
In the tax mapping, and that's just for our parcel maps to update?
Yeah, that's
if
an
there's
annual,
changes?
which one is that?
Is that their annual fee?
Yeah, CAI.
CAI?
Yep.
Okay.
So that's annual?
I believe that's an annual fee for tax mapping for CAI.
John, on page 5, there's a Marshard Museum of Science. Is that a rec center?
That was a library program, I believe.
Okay. And on page 6, when I saw $2,255 for grader tires, it made me feel like I didn't spend too much money for the tractor tires that I just recently bought.
I hope not. Yeah, no, they get a lot of wear and tear, but try to stay on top of it.
And the children's, on page 6, the Children's Center taxes, the town of Hartland.
The activity center.
That's Four Corners, yeah.
Four Corners?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on the invoices? Then all in favor of accepting the invoices through August the 18th, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. I'd like to make one additional adjustment to the agenda and move Rob up before we tackle the Three Corners intersection lights. I assume, Rob, you have a short, you're welcome to stay the whole meeting, but on that part. Are there any public comments? Yes,
I
Sherry.
just have a follow-up question. You approved the purchase for the Historical Society. Has that been installed and is it working good?
I don't know.
It will be installed on September 16th.
Oh, biscuit. Should have been done.
Well, we are kind of, once we agree to it, we're kind of at their mercy in terms of scheduling.
Is it a combination of heat pump and
Yeah, it's a heat pump, so it'll do,
everything?
everything.
Yeah.
Keep it a little warmer in the winter and also.
And the key thing is to dehumidify the area.
Right. That's what I was hoping that would work.
Yeah, well, it is not. It will be working soon.
During
The
August.
dehumidifiers are actively working.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone online for public comments?
Nope. No comments online.
Okay, then let's skip over the intersection lights and go to the Conservation Commission. Rob is here to talk to us.
The principal's office.
See the principal's office a lot.
When I was here back in May, I brought up the issue of this company in Claremont that comes and pumps water out of Lulls. I think there's kind of good news and bad news on that. This summer, it seems like they have been coming less frequently, because usually if they're coming like they were 2 years ago, I will get reports from people. I go by and they were pulling a truck or something. So this year I've only had 2 reports like that, but one of them was from me. 2 weeks ago I was driving down and there were 2 tankers at the fire station. The big one is, I think, about 10,000 gallons. The little one is 5,000 gallons, and they were both there at the same time. I stopped and took a picture of the big one. The little one had left by the time I got in there. But I took a picture of the truck and of the driver, and he was grumpy about that. And said again, we are following all the rules, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, that's 15,000 gallons of water, and the brook is so low now that it just really, that's a big load to take out. And it's not over a 24-hour period, it's over a 2-hour period, or however long it takes them to fill up the trucks. So, John, did you hear anything back?
Yes. So I have an update
Okay.
in addition to, so I reached out to the Rivers Program folks at A&R, and they,
What is A&R?
the Agency of Natural Resources, sorry, old habits. And they are supposed to, folks who do water withdrawals of over a certain amount are supposed to register. This company is not registered, therefore it was referred to enforcement. I have been playing phone tag with the environmental enforcement officer. There is or will soon be an open and active enforcement complaint regarding the water withdrawal from this company in Hartland.
So will the company be notified that there is a complaint? I mean, how are they going to?
They will be notified. I don't know, once it once it moves into enforcement's hands, it's kind of out of our hands and they deal with it, whether it's a fine or, whatever it might be.
Right.
So the enforcement action is because they aren't registered, or the enforcement action is they're not registered and also they're withdrawing too much water, or?
The enforcement action because they are not registered in doing this thing, right? The subsequent action then would be, when Rob was here previously, we talked about a few different options in terms of how to address this, and I think that is the other half of this question, right? We have an open enforcement action, which will be dealt with by the state, and we'll be notified of any sort of outcome of that, I think. But how do we, if there is a desire to prevent water withdrawals from this access point moving forward, how do we do that?
Do we know how they're withdrawing the water? Are they using the dry hydrants? So
They have a pump.
So they have their own.
Yeah, they bring their pump, they throw the end of it in the brook, and then they fill up the trucks. Now, when I talked to the guy a couple of weeks ago, the driver, he said, we're following all the rules, we have records in the truck, and I said, can I see those records? And so he went into the truck, and he looks around, looks under the, oh, I guess they're not here. So maybe they're not there, maybe they're not. And so I don't really trust that they're keeping track and following all the rules. But I don't know what else to do with it.
Is there a limitation on withdrawal? Do you know?
Yes.
Through the
So the
statute?
state has guidelines, and the guidelines say, I think it's 15,000 gallons in a 24-hour period, 150,000 gallons in a 30-day period, I think.
Per company or for all companies combined?
For a withdrawer.
A single withdrawer.
Yeah. And then they're supposed to register, and they're supposed to keep track of what their withdrawals are with the state. And that's the piece that they're not doing. And their argument is, well, if we're not withdrawing over that limit, then we don't have to register with the state. But if they're the only ones keeping track and their records are not in the truck, I don't know how they know that they're not.
John, I'm wondering if we could ask Rob to send the photo of the truck.
I think when I make contact with the enforcement officer, when we touch base, I will let him know that we have photos, evidence of this, and if they want it, then I will pass it along to them.
Okay.
Yeah, we have multiple photos from different years. Just whenever I drive by, if I see one, I take a photo. And I've had other people send me photos too. So.
Yeah, I ran into someone recently that was filling up a couple 100-gallon tank that is used for maple sugar in time, and they were at the dry pump there, just using it. And so it looks like smaller amounts are fine.
Yeah.
It's just these huge tankers that are just.
And I think even, if it's a Hartland resident and they're drawing water to do whatever, irrigate or fill up a swimming pool or something like that, that's different. But having a company drive over here, fill up a tank and then go sell the water just seems like
Okay, well, I'll be anxious fingers crossed that we actually get some enforcement here.
Correct, enforcement, but I think there's the second half of that question though.
It just completes the table.
That's right.
Right. I don't know, we talked about posting it as, private property. That would, I don't know that prevents it from happening in the future. An unmonitored sign does not necessarily, mean compliance.
There's enough people monitoring that we would become aware of it.
Yeah, I think if you had a sign there that anybody withdrawing water needed permission from the select board to be on that property, then if somebody's there, they either have permission or they don't, and anybody driving by can stop and ask that. So I think that that's the easiest fix for the problem.
That almost, it's up to you guys, I would put that in the charge of the town manager.
Right.
Because people,
right.
And the sign could say any number of things. It could say, no trespassing, permit required in town for water withdrawal.
I think we need to figure out what we can and can't do on that. Can we say no trespassing?
Yeah, well, I think we can post this, it's town land, we can post it as no trespassing.
It should probably be, without permission, right?
Right.
It should probably be posted anyway, just for liability issues, so you don't have kids playing back there on the equipment and stuff like that.
Because there is, like you mentioned, there is actual, I think it's on the back of the garage or the fire station, I don't recall which one, an actual spigot for residents to use.
Yeah, behind the garage.
Right,
Yeah,
on the back of the garage. Yeah.
On the garage.
Okay, so we don't want to.
So it's pumped from a well.
Right, and with that, I think it was installed a number of years ago for people to use for irrigation and farm purposes.
Now, they have also, I've heard, taken water from Four Corners down there by, if you go behind the gravel pit, there's a little bridge and you can access the road there. One of my spies tells me that they've been down there and pumped water out. So I don't know if we're...
Probably just because we're the only town that doesn't do anything about it.
They're readily accessible spots as well, right?
But surely there are accessible spots on the Sugar River.
I was going to say, between here and Claremont, there's other spots.
You pass a handful of streets. Yeah.
Right. I think the Sugar River would kind of qualify there.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for Rob?
So just to clarify, I think there's two things going on here.
Yeah.
One or three things. One, there's an enforcement complaint that will kind of play out outside of the select boards. We can put together some sign and a sign language that, in essence say, no trespassing, water withdrawals by permission from the town manager only. And then third, prior to that, we also need to then understand the rules of when they can withdraw water, right? Obviously, when this was happening 10 days or so ago, it was very low. We've not gotten substantive rain from them. But so there needs to be the communication, I think, between the Conservation Commission and myself to say, when do you feel that this would be an acceptable time to pull water from the stream?
Okay, that's great. I can try to figure out that.
I don't want
Because I
to be a
know
single
my
arbiter of.
experience in dealing with skiers and water withdrawal, they look at, cubic feet per second and so on, and they, it's very scientific as far as, and I just wonder if any way we can do a sampling and say, this is the flow rate, and if it's below this flow rate, you can't take anything out.
Okay, we'll look into it.
I'm just.
Yeah. The problem is just how often do we do that?
No, I get it. I'm trying to.
We also have to decide if we're going to give commercial companies access.
Yeah, access.
I don't really like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have those three.
I think there's a plan moving forward at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ron.
Good. Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Keep your spies going.
We're jumping around here, but let's go to old business. I hope tonight that with all the information that has come to us in the last couple of meetings and within the last 24 hours, that we can make a decision on the intersection pedestrian lights in three corners. So we have in our packets information from Electric Light Company. Isn't that a rock group? And they have product information with the Soltech lights. So John, do you want to walk us through what we have here?
So I think we've been struggling for a couple of meetings now to find at least a design and light fixture that was aesthetically pleasing and fit in the three corners. I think we have finally, the one that was in your packet for this meeting, the Orinda Pro 50, I think is, in my opinion, fits in the three corners village setting.
Is it a different model than the last one?
Yeah, I don't believe we've seen this one in a select board meeting yet.
Yeah, I thought we got that last one.
We may have, and then we didn't have any price. I'm not
We
sure.
didn't have maybe we had the design, but not the price.
Okay.
Yeah. So now we have a design, a price included. I sent it out this morning, and for those who get paper packets, you have these diagrams as well, which show, how that would look at a dark sky night, like how these lights would illuminate the crosswalk, and if we wanted to go into the triangle as well. And then you have a price quote at the end. This document from Electric Light Company. Electric Light Orchestra, ELO is the band, Phil, not company. Just and this is for 9 lights at $119,400.
So what do we budget?
The voters approved $100,000 in town meeting 2024.
From capital.
Correct, from the capital reserve.
So do you feel like in winter conditions, these lights will do the job?
Correct. We have the ability, these are remote controlled lights, we have the ability to change when they come on and at the intensity that they come on. So I think this will do the job, and they are designed for this latitude of installment. The question here is, so this is 9 at $119,400. We have the opportunity, if we wanted to have the light in front of Damon Hall removed as well by the handicap parking space, and that would remove the pole and a half that exists there as well, because that pole is only serving, it's only bringing the power line over for the light.
For the light that's on the telephone.
For the light that's on the telephone pole.
Right.
And so would a new light compensate for the removal of that light wherever we put it?
Right, we would have to install, so we would have to move this to add another light here.
Okay, so that would be 10.
That would be 10.
Got it.
Right.
I kind of like that light there. Why increase the price by taking down something that works?
I don't like the light there, and we've worked hard as a town to remove the telephone poles right in the immediate area, and the fact that there's a pole and a half that would come down, I think would be useful, and it would seem more symmetrical to have the lights to the right side of Damon Hall the same as the one that's on the telephone pole. So, and I think we have some unencumbered funds that could cover it, cover that difference between the 100K that was allocated at town meeting.
What about moving the 9th light from the triangle over to that spot over here? Just keep the price contained.
8. So, Jim, I didn't make copies of this, but this is a diagram from VHB. I don't know if you're familiar with this. So it has the front and back.
So we are reducing the number.
But there's 8 in the intersection, right?
There's not, I believe there's 7 in the intersection, if you count those for me again.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Because it depends on where the crosswalks, if the crosswalks are close together, we can get by with one light. There are multiple spots in that intersection. And then the one down by the crosswalk at the library, that Cobra light on the pole is staying. Green Mountain Power has agreed to turn it, so it's illuminating the crosswalk a little bit more.
Okay, so there's 2 lights over on the side.
On the side. And then because these are solar lights, we have the ability to install them wherever we want. So, you know, we could put 2 on the back side of the triangle, or even in the middle of the triangle to help shed light and you know,
And
to
that
cover.
2 brings it to 9.
So that 2 brings it to 9. The one out here would bring it to 10 if we wanted to go in that direction as well. It's about, sorry, Phil, it's just over $13,000 per light.
Something that struck me today when I was going through the packet is that, as we know, where the sun is for solar gain in winter is different from the summer. Summer is not that critical, but I don't know if these collectors are fixed in one position, optimized for winter, or whether they actually, of all the great remote control things that they talk about, I didn't see that they could actually change the setting on those.
It looked to me like you had to set a tilt during installation.
During installation.
Yeah, much like they would for installing a satellite TV, they would use their instrument to decide where the satellite was and set it. Yeah, I agree with you. That appears that way to me.
So we could then ask them to optimize the solar gain during the winter months.
Correct.
Vis-a-vis the summer, by whatever angle they have to use.
I would think that would be the approach. Yes, I agree. Not being an electric light engineer.
Yeah, no.
The other question, in addition to the number of lights, it doesn't change the price, but they did the pole spec sheets. There's an 18-foot and a 24-foot pole as well. The one question I had late in the day was how high are the Cobra lights installed on the telephone pole, like down by the library? I need a visual, understanding of what that looks like. 18 versus 24.
So the lighting study that's on the cast, the light, do you know what was the height of the pole for that study? Would that tell us?
So it provides us.
I thought I saw 20 feet.
They're 14. Mounting height 14 feet.
What were the choices?
14 and 24, or 18 and 24.
So we're getting 4 additional feet going with the 18.
Correct.
Is there a price difference?
No, there's no price difference between the 2 poles.
I just think they might look pretty gangly being so
tall. 24 feet strikes me as quite tall.
And less wind prone, it's a little lower.
I'm sorry?
Less wind issues.
Yes. Also, if something needs to be repaired,
Right, more ability for us to do the
to
repair.
do it than
Right.
having to get a basket truck or something like that.
Scissor
get up
lift
there.
or something to get up there. Yeah.
Yeah, I would guess that we would want the pole to be as low as possible with the right amount of lumens and the circumference of where that light is being shed. Whatever that combination is what we need.
So how are we paying for this additional cost, given,
Given the additional cost, we have the unencumbered fund balance of an unaudited number is about $600,000 still.
this is outside of ARPA?
This is the ARPA money.
This is ARPA.
Right.
It is no longer ARPA money. I'm efforting to not use that term.
I know, I'm just trying to,
And it feels an appropriate use of those funds because we've been talking about village-related items with those funds. If you did not manage to pay roads with those funds.
But this is price will go up another 15, 12,000.
13.
Yeah, 13,200 is if you take 119,400 divided by 9, you get 13,200.
so we're looking at 132,000.
132,000. So 32,000 from the unencumbered fund balance. If we do the additional poll, at a minimum, we're taking 19,400 out of the unencumbered fund balance.
And this includes all installation.
This is installed, then installed price. You'll see a couple of notes in there. You know, if they need to do extra mobilization or demobilization, there could be an upcharge, but standard language within a price.
Prices aren't going down, so I feel it's incumbent upon us to make a decision.
And given the lead time, you know, this
Lead time,
you know, we're talking 8 to 10 weeks. So
tariffs and everything else going on.
So we could get them in this fall. Trace, any thoughts?
Sounds like we're heading in the right direction, and it's been a long time. People were expecting the lights when the road went in, when they got fixed. So I'm assuming that because they voted for it, we funded it, and that we've got a final packet that we would just move forward and do this.
Well, you want me to make a motion and get it over with?
straight to it.
I move that we buy 10 lights from Electric Light Company, not the musical group, and
You're showing your age, Clyde.
take the overage from the unencumbered funds above and beyond what the town voted.
Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Thank you, Tom. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimous.
Congratulations, everyone.
I said,
Okay. Wow, we have lights.
Finally.
So no, we don't have to talk about the lights. We don't have to talk about the 550 anymore. What are we going to fill our meetings with at this point?
Believe me.
I think we should talk about the town meeting.
Fine, now you just damned us.
I did.
Just damned us.
Just saying, it's an exciting moment.
Maybe we just fill our time with the capital plan. Okay, John, what is your role and Brian's role as we talk about that?
As the capital plan, it's
First identify that in our packets today, we had a 14, 15, 16 page document that was created by Two Rivers that captured a number of, if not all, the items that could potentially require our work in the years ahead. So that's the gist of the capital plan, and part of it is a capital program. So tonight we're going to just do a high-level walkthrough everything.
right.
You're looking for a spreadsheet, I take it.
I am trying. I might need Race's help. Hey, look at that. So sharing a spreadsheet in a packet is a difficult proposition. It is on the screen behind you, and I can send it out so everybody can look at it individually, but there are 10 plus tabs within the spreadsheet,
Right.
broken down by category, right? Transportation, equipment, buildings, etc. So with us tonight, we have Brian Kowalik from from the Two Rivers Regional Planning Commission, who worked with BJ and I to put this together as a part of the Long Island Sound grant project. Thriving Communities grant project.
Connects to that one.
Right.
Of course it does.
So in your packet, you had the report, which you had seen a few months ago, which was a preliminary kind of overview of what we were doing and the intent. And then we met to go through the spreadsheet, which we filled in as much of the information as we could. So this is, again, no action tonight because there is a very formal process to adoption of a capital budget and program, similar to a town plan, public hearings and things like that. However, prior to moving forward, I wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page about how it looked and the intent of it here. Because once it becomes adopted, it is used as a tool and looked at semi-frequently to make sure that we are following the path that it lays out for us. Other questions to start?
I think it would just help me understand what projects are covered by this money.
So at this point, the projects that we looked at were transportation-related projects, which includes, ditching and culvert, the Quechee Road, those large transportation projects, things that are outside of our normal workflow.
Right.
We have the Quechee Road, we have town bridges, we have obviously the North Hartland covered bridges as an outstanding project that's been out there for a long time. Looking at the equipment fund and the equipment list, how are we funding those purchases? Looking at buildings, and it's broken out individually. So we have a town garage. It's been an outstanding need for a number of years now. There's the rec building and Damon Hall. Both, we have the reports from the architect from 2022, 2023, which outlines some needs at both of those buildings. The North Hartland School, which we still need to, in essence, take care of and do something with. The library building, the Four Corners School.
And the garage.
The town garage, I mentioned at the beginning. Okay. And then there are multiple other funds. There's the rec funds, and then there's the rec fund and the equipment fund.
Fire department buildings?
The fire department is not, the fire department building is not owned by the town of Hartland, I believe.
So, did you say salt shed?
We didn't, I did not say salt shed, I said town garage, which could include a salt shed.
Yeah, we have added that into the cost preliminary ballpark figure we added for the town garage to include a salt shed, sand shed, and a garage.
So I want to cross a couple of things off that you probably have already done. Gilson Road, paving, and guardrails, that's done.
Gilson Road paving and guard. We added some, but that seems like a project that we would tackle in the normal course of operations.
You do it through paving.
Right, through our annual paving allocation and budget.
Okay. Well, what I'm looking at is the list that kind of came from your predecessor.
Okay.
Right, to make sure we get everything covered. Some things we can take off, like the Jennyville culvert can come off. That's done.
The first one, right. There's another one that still is outstanding out there.
Right. But Jim, I don't think tonight we're looking to drive into the detail.
No, yeah, I just want to make sure we're covered the high level projects that are going to be in here. So when we look at the details, we've got a complete picture.
We'll have it, okay.
Yeah. So Jennyville culvert and Katy Brook, that's it.
Yep.
That comes off. Sorry to use up all the time. Quechee Road engineering study is done.
It's done.
That comes off. Mount Hunger paving on 2 sides.
That's done.
That's done.
It was done last summer.
Boy, you guys are doing a lot. Sorry, man. That's it. Jennyville culvert at Densmore Brook.
That is being engineered and designed currently as we speak this summer, and that project will wait until there is funding to be found for it.
But do we need to plan on it so that it's either we're paying for it or we get a grant? So it's on.
I think that is a project that we could anticipate finding grant funding for.
Tom?
But I wish it
Jim, pardon, but we haven't even decided what we as a board consider to be priority projects.
Right.
So I haven't looked at this the way you're looking at it. Why don't we just give Brian the opportunity to give us a methodology and everything as far as he's using it? Okay, but.
Brothers Road culvert by Poor Farm Road.
That project still is outstanding and needs to be, and we are aware of it and it needs to be taken care of.
Yeah. So my only point is, if we're going to go through this process, which I think we need to, let's make sure we get everything accounted for.
But let's just find out what the structure is first.
Okay.
And then we can feed into
Yeah.
the capital program, the projects we want.
Right, yeah, that's fine. Thanks, okay, so, yeah, and we can, of course, as the select board, you have the ultimate say what gets put in and what gets edited or revised inside the capital budget and program. So the transportation projects, the inputs we do have, I worked with John and BJ. We could put some of the smaller outstanding road projects that you have in the hopper. We could put those in here for certain. We would just need to identify what year, what the cost, ballpark figure, if you don't have a more detailed engineering report for it, and what the funding source for that project would be. Ultimately, a capital budget is trying to answer just those few questions. What is the capital project? What is the funding source? What year or years will it occur? And that's really it. The report that accompanies that, it just provides more elaboration on the funding sources, the project itself, what that will entail, and any sort of impact to the town finances, if any impact is anticipated. So for any capital projects, including these ones for transportation you mentioned, Jim, those are the questions you're trying to answer. It's adopted, which is a future thing that can happen after it's in a good enough form that you feel like it's ready to be adopted. There's a really scaled down version compared to a town plan. You just have to have one select board hearing, and you have to make a copy available to the town clerk and to the secretary of the planning commission. And then 15 days notice, you hold the hearing, and then it's something that the select board can adopt in any meeting after that hearing.
Brian, how is it maintained from year to year? Do we have the ability to kind of
you have the ability to
delete projects?
You have the ability to edit it. I would then just, in a select board meeting, re-adopt it after you've done editing it. So you can establish a schedule to amend it going forward. Say every quarter you look at it and amend it. If you want to do it every year, if you want to do it every month, that's just a question for you guys to establish your own schedule to keep it up to date.
Because as much as it is a tool that we would try to stick to, obviously, we had to buy a backhoe a few months ago. That was not in line to be purchased quite yet. Mm-hmm. Grant funding for the Jennyville culvert, we would put it out there for, we think we might be in line for a structures grant in say 2027 from V-Trans, but there might be other priority towns that beat us to that. So that might get delayed by a year. And then we would update it quarterly or, semi-annually, update the capital plan to reflect those changes as they come about.
Brian, part of the report that we have in our packets talks about funding sources.
Yep.
Is that, again, an ongoing collaboration between our town, Hartland, and the two rivers as we look at potential funding sources to meet these items in the capital plan?
How do you mean about the relationship?
Well, some of these funding sources may come and go.
Right.
And we'd be looking to two rivers to have more knowledge about the state of those.
News sources.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that we can provide guidance on. It's not necessarily a strict statutory requirement to have an elaboration on the funding sources. I just think it's useful as a document for public consumption. There's a lot of misconceptions people have about where money comes from. People think there's grants and you can do anything with grants. Grants are not like that. They're very restrictive in what you can do. And every grant that I know of that you realistically would apply for has a match requirement. Yeah. So people forget that part. So it's, I think, just useful as a public document for people to realize there's only certain street grants available that can go towards certain projects, and you can't get grant funding for everything you would want to try to do. But that is something that can help as grants come available or change over time to provide different context.
Right, and the list is never meant to be exhaustive.
On neither side, neither the potential funding sources nor the projects.
Right, exactly. But it again is that guiding tool that we can use. So I think, in the report, there's a handful of recommendations. some are quite short lists and some are longer, particularly when it comes to town buildings, right? We anticipate getting a report back, in the next 10 days or so regarding lead and asbestos work at Damon Hall, the rec center, and the Four Corners School. That will get added and included into this, and probably we would see recommendations come out of that report in terms of, remediation that may or may not be needed.
I'm sorry, did you say the library repairs?
The library repairs are in here. It is a town-owned building.
So what is the next step with this? I mean,
So the next step is,
Jim had a very valid, we want to make sure that, we know what's in the recipe book.
yeah, so I think it's important and not to belabor this, right? There's standard work that we get accomplished every year. Mount Hunger paving, for example, was on the list that you had, which that's just a part of our annual, paving program, and new guardrails, we budget for those things. This is essentially all of those things that are outside of our standard work, right? We know that there needs to be work done at, I'll just use Damon Hall for an example, that the chimney is likely need to be repointed and the roof might need some repairs at some point. We are not actively planning for that work. So that work would get included in the capital plan. And we can, use that when it comes to budget season. Well, what are we doing for town bridges? What are we doing for Damon Hall repairs? And using it in that capacity. I can share the spreadsheet with everybody through email, which is really the only feasible way to look at it. But again, it's showing you this is the money coming in, right? The equipment transfer in that we do every year, or our paving budget every year. And here's where it needs to go, right? Like here's a list of 20 pieces of equipment that we own that we need to actively maintain and replace every 3 to 5 years, longer if possible. So you can see how the money is being spent.
I know it's in here, but I'm drawing a blank. What is the approximate timeline for this in the sense of, is it a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan?
We have it as a 10-year plan. It could be a 5-year plan. That's what, so in statute, capital budget is defined as a 5-year plan. We just recommend doing a 10-year plan. I think 5 years is just not enough, a long enough timeline, especially if your life cycle of the vehicle is 7 years. It's not going to show up in your 5-year planning to replace the vehicle you just purchased. So we do encourage 10 years for reasons like that.
And then can you speak to, you just mentioned state statutes, so what is our requirement as a town here?
So towns are not required to have a capital budget, of course. It's a planning tool for select boards to consider putting together and helping them guide decisions about new capital projects. In statute, a capital project is just any physical betterment or improvement when first constructed or acquired. So your routine maintenance obligations are not capital projects. Patching a hole roof, not a capital project. Replacing the roof in its entirety, we call that a capital project. It also can include any studies that go into a project, like building a new town garage is definitely going to require a site plan. That would count as a capital project. Purchasing land if you need it for that project would also be a capital project. So those are the sort of parameters of what it is, what are capital projects. And then, like I said, the budget itself has to do the work of identifying what are those capital projects, what year, what funding source, and what is the cost, those 4 questions. And then the program report provides more elaboration on that in a word format.
Brian, there's no employee growth, and as we look ahead with potential bylaws, and we don't have an ordinance administrator right now, should any of those, should HR-related costs be part of a capital plan?
I wouldn't, unless, I really wouldn't, because it's not a capital project itself, that's operations and maintenance expense.
To support the capital.
To support
it needs to be like a tangible asset that has a certain, generally 3 years or more.
Yeah, and I would definitely say not to sweat the small stuff. I mean, we didn't establish a minimum dollar amount for projects, but small purchases, you can find money for it, and I wouldn't worry about putting it in here.
it's meant to be a tool for us to use to not only like have an understanding of all the projects that are out there, right? We've done all the studies on the Quechee Road and the buildings, but now we have to take action on them. And this essentially outlines them in written form and puts a price tag, an approximate price tag on them. So when we come into budget season on an annual basis, this should get referred to.
Okay. So
the next steps is I will send out the spreadsheet for everybody to review and take a look at. And then I think the next steps is I noticed a couple of things in looking at it, the backhoe update, purchasing a backhoe was in here. That's obviously done. So now we can shift things accordingly. We'll get the lead and asbestos, the report back, hopefully by the end of next week. We can incorporate any of their findings, if there are findings, in terms of, building maintenance and expected repairs. And then the next step would be adoption.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. So once it's in a format that's good to go, and I was going to point out the Four Corners School doesn't have any listed projects. John and I, we talked about what we came up with. So that could be removed potentially before it's adopted. And then the rec fund, there's 2 passenger vans coming up with a replacement schedule for those 2. Maybe something we can add in here, and then I can add that into the report. I left it out of the report because I didn't have any context yet on what that would entail. But yeah, then I can move towards adoption. So you'll have a select board hearing. That's a couple of small send out notice requirements.
It's 15 days public notice?
15 days public notice. There's no, in statute, this is considered a non-regulatory tool to implement a town plan. Bylaws are regulatory, capital budget is non-regulatory. There's no actual section in statute about non-regulatory tool adoption. There is one for regulatory tools. So just to err on the side of caution, we do everything that says to do, which includes an ad in the paper. We encourage you to do that, although it's not it's not clear in the statute if you have to do that or not. So like an ad in the paper, send it out, make a copy available to public consumption in the town clerk office and on the website.
Except, we want to have a public hearing, so we want to invite the public, right?
Yeah, so make it publicly available. Keep it locked for editing during that time, and then.
So, looking at the calendar, we send this out. We could either look at adopting this in the second meeting in September or the first meeting in October.
Yeah,
which puts it in place in time for this year's budget season to begin in those discussions.
Which is very important. I think I'm hearing that there'll be an effort behind the scenes with both of you trying to sort of refine what's there.
Yep.
But we need a chance to sort of go through it.
Yeah, please.
I think September is way optimistic because knowing us, we're going to be going through those paths.
as you
my
should.
friend at the other end of the table will be quite thorough on that, which we really appreciate.
As you should.
So,
He's not smiling.
I know that.
Just read through all the details. Not to jump ahead, but the town garage, if you were to move that, would you consider
Yes.
down
Yes.
that way instead
Ferry
of?
Road, yeah.
Yeah. Where the existing pit is. Yeah.
Why keep it on the Brownsville Road when you can go down?
Where on the Brownsville Road could you remove it?
Well, the sand pit is at Four Corners, right? That's where we keep sand.
But no, I understand that, yeah.
Yeah. I am of the opinion that I think there's available space at the pit for the construction of a new town garage.
Which pit?
The town pit.
The town pit down on Ferry Road.
The town pit down on Ferry Road.
Okay.
We own 3.5 or 4 acres down there.
Okay.
And that could potentially give the fire department a septic system if we get rid of that building.
That is the added side benefit of moving the town garage.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no septic system.
It's a tank.
There's a tank. There is a tank that gets pumped very frequently.
Oh my God.
Okay. Any other
Yes.
questions about the capital?
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
This is good. Looking forward to the spreadsheet so I can call you 100 times.
Brian, yes, thank you. And we look forward to working with you to get this completed.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay.
Appreciate it. I'll be in touch.
Moving on to the town manager update.
Sure. So we've talked about it now a couple times. Lead and asbestos testing was done at the beginning of last week at Four Corners, the rec, and Damon Hall. We're anticipating the results in the coming weeks. They have to send out asbestos for sampling out to New Hampshire. They say 5 business days to get those results back.
You already told us buildings are clear from radon.
They have not done the radon test at Four Corners. When Windsor Early Childhood Education did their home inspection, they had a radon test done that came back clean.
Okay.
So
we don't have to worry about mold.
As far as I'm aware, there's no need to do mold. They're going to do a radon test just because, it's part of their process. But, in preliminary discussions, we did come back with significantly elevated levels of lead in Damon Hall. We were just having a discussion while they're here, particularly in the painted walls and ceilings.
The metal ceilings.
The metal ceilings, and then the walls, where they exist, like upstairs.
Like here?
Yeah, like directly above us here. So something that, we'll get those results and have to, look at a course of action to deal with that. I am keeping Windsor Early Childhood Education aware of the process there. So once we get those results back and they have a chance to review them and update their board, we can build that into any sort of lease agreement that we move forward with them long term if there is kind of remediation steps needed. So that continues, but on the side. There was a successful operation to remove the corn harvester last Thursday from the brook. It was quite the operation. The road was closed most of the day. The power outage that took place at about 9:15 was unrelated to the operation to remove the corn harvester. So that was good. That was a tree down in Windsor, so unrelated. We are just finalizing a few small details on the paving contract, but I anticipate sending that tomorrow. So we'll get paving done, and we're doing essentially all of the paved roads in North Hartland and most of the aprons throughout the rest of town.
I'm so sorry. Who are we using this year?
We're using Blacktop again this year, and so they're going to start, just for your own knowledge, on Station Road. So we'll sign the contract. They're going to jump on Station Road in an effort to get that done before school starts, and then they will pause and come back to everything else when they can do it all as a lump. But they know that we want to get Station Road done before school. Town Farm Hill will be posted as closed. They're doing ditch work up there. We had road closed ahead signs, but found that folks were not kind of abiding by those signs. And so we were having to move an excavator into the ditch every time there was a car coming. And that was really limiting our ability to get work done. So it will be posted as closed so the road crew can, get some meaningful work done throughout the course of the day. The rainstorm that we had last week, I believe, we got a little water damage at the rec center. There's a flat roof at the rec center and actually a flat roof on the back of the Four Corners School with a rubber membrane roof. They're both in a condition that probably needs to be, looked at. So we're getting some quotes from a roofing contractor to look at those things. It seems like the flashing is pulling out on the side of both structures, so water is then getting in behind the flashing and going down the wall. The school got some minor damage to some shades and some equipment, not rising to the level that we would submit a claim with the insurance company given our deductible. So we'll just, we're going to have to, buy new blinds and have them installed and things like that.
This is a school.
What, sorry?
The school?
The cooperative nursery school. In the rec center.
Yeah, I had the same reaction.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, we're paying for the elementary school.
No, sorry. The cooperative nursery school in the rec center, in a town building. Sherry asked the question, the heat pump installation is scheduled for the Historical Society on September 16th. We then will owe them the second half of the payment, but everything is on track with that. And the audit was completed. We have a draft audit report that Martin and I are reviewing and then sending them any minor changes and tweaks, and then we will anticipate having the full audit sometime mid-September in print form for everybody to review.
Did you, during the audit, do any process reviews of any specific areas?
We did. We had, multiple kind of sit down, quick conversations with the auditor when they were here, and there was nothing of note that was found in terms of, deficiencies or anything that was a cause for concern. And we got some clarification on some of the kind of open questions and reserve funds and things like that. So it's helpful. And that is it.
Okay, thank you, John. Future agenda items, we have the North Hartland covered bridges. Do we still have outstanding work with the cemetery committee? Is it waiting for a report?
I think once we figure out the tree work at the Weed Road Cemetery, I believe we can move that off of the future agenda items.
Okay, and any scanning that was done, did we get a report on that?
I have not heard back from Daryl. I can ping Daryl again. There'd been a preliminary conversation back and forth, but not a final report.
The Quechee Road, and again, I hope we'll have a report on what work will be done. Not now, but
no, just real quick. Sorry, the road foreman, pathways, and I hope our selected contractor are meeting on Monday afternoon next week to go through, what work, we anticipate and what work they think will be the most beneficial this year to buy us additional time.
Excellent. Then Lull farmland
just remains a scheduling issue.
Okay, we have maybe one more. Don't we have to circle back to the road project?
Yes.
John, is there any correspondence?
No correspondence.
Okay. We do have 2 executive sessions tonight.
I would argue that.
Let's do it in reverse order. Let's do the Merrit Campbell one first,
Please.
And then we'll go into
Thank you.
The second, which is an HR employment related one. Jim, can you do us the honor of do you want to just take a break first?
You check the number right on the.
Those are the numbers that we've used previously, and I believe they are correct.
So I make a motion that we move to executive session under 1 V.S.A. 313A6 to discuss our Campbell request.
Okay. I'll second that motion.
And then in theory, we'll take action when we get back.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, we're back.
Okay, looking for a motion.
Did you want to do it, Tom?
I make a motion that we make a donation to a family in town from the Campbell Merrit Fund for the amount of $1,000.
Is there a second? Thank you, Jim. All in favor, say aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you. Okay, then we have one more entry into an executive session, Jim.
Sorry, I think I'll find my.
No action this time.
Let's see, August 18th. I make a motion that we go to executive session under 1 V.S.A. 3138A3 to discuss the appointment, employment, or evaluation of a public officer or employee.
Oh, second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.